be talking. The Legal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act of 1996 added a section called 287G, Performance of Immigration Officer Functions by State Officers and Employees, to the Immigration and Nationality Act. What happened, I think they found they were having not enough manpower to deal with some of the issues that was happening in our country, so they went back and revisited it. This authorizes a Deputy Director of ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, to enter into an agreement with state and local officers or agencies permitting designated officers that are trained through Immigration and Customs to function under the supervision of ICE officers. For example, in Alamance County, we have 2 federal ICE officers assigned to our detention center 40 hours a week. They double check anything that the Alamance County Sheriff's Office does as far as detention and removal. Second thing I want you to understand, we do not remove anybody. We just process these individuals. All right, the 287G program is one of ICE partnership initiatives that allow state and local law enforcement to join with ICE. There's a memorandum of understanding that we have to enter. That basically dictates to us as a local law enforcement agency what we can do, what we can't do, and what the rules and regulations are governing us. Those 2 ICE agents assigned to our 287G site double checks every bit of the work we do to make sure everything is above board and we're following their procedures. And that is very important. Okay. 287G program, like I said, is one of the greatest partnerships I think we've developed with ICE, and we do have it. There are 2 types of 287G partnerships. One is your jail enforcement model. That's where the only way you will process anybody if they self-identify themselves by committing a state violation or a federal violation and come into our detention center. The second type is a task force officer program, which means your officer is trained and they will work with ICE agents on federal violations out in the communities. Participating agencies. Currently, ICE has 69 law enforcement agencies in 24 states participating in this particular program. Since January 2006, the 287G program has credited with identifying more than 217,300 potentially removable criminal aliens. Now, I'm going to tell you, from the standpoint of a sheriff, we deal with criminal, illegal aliens, not just from Mexico, Guatemala. Good example today. We had one in the jail we caught with quite a quantity of methylene dioxymethamphetamine last night in our county. He was from Denmark. He is being processed probably as we talk. So everybody gets all upset and say, well, you know, it's looking at the Hispanic. It's not. We have identified Italians. We have Germans from Denmark, not other nations, not just our Spanish-speaking countries. Okay. ICE has trained and certified more than 1,500 state and local officers nationwide. Currently, ICE has 6 287G sites in North Carolina, and all 100 counties we've got 6 287G sites, and the remaining 100 counties has the Secure Communities program, in which Sheriff Page will be talking about shortly. All right, the 287 jail enforcement model works. How does it work? It only applies to criminals who also happen to be illegal aliens or immigrants in the United States. Persons are identified by the program, self-select themselves. If you don't want to be processed, to the 287G program in our jail do not violate the law of our state and nation. Illegal aliens in North Carolina who are arrested will not be identified through the 287 jail and enforcement model program in North Carolina. In other words, we're not going to go out and just pick up anybody and bring in. You have to commit a violation of the law in the state of North Carolina and Alamance County to be processed. Okay, processing procedure. A subject is arrested by a local officer on state and local charges and is transported to detention facility for processing and appearance before a judicial official. Now here's another misconception of the program. If that individual does post bond before he comes into the jail to be processed, guess what? They don't get put through the identification process. And if they are recognized, their bond is recognized, and never come in through the detention center to be processed, they are released. We have lost, I am very much concerned about this procedure because we have lost some probably violent criminals that have violent records simply because they did not come into the detention center. And I'm sure we have. While in the pre-booking, a arresting officer fills out a property sheet. There are two questions on the property sheet. Where were you born and what country are you a citizen of? If a subject indicates that he or she is foreign born or a citizen of another country, a 287G officer is notified. At that point, once they come into the booking area, we have to take property sheets. That's where we know at that point they answer those questions if our 287G officers should begin processing them. Now, on some situations, individuals has come back in the booking process and has lied and not checked where they were really born, but they could not speak a bit of English. And so we knew, there had to be some other foreign country. At that time, we notified our 287G officers. Detention officers are ICE certified, and believe me, ICE school is a tough school. And we have recertification all the time with the ICE officers assigned to our detention center. May interview all non-U.S. citizens and nationals brought into the Alamance County Jail for criminal process in order to determine the status of removability. Once again, I want you to understand, the sheriff does not remove anybody. We do the process. ICE handles the deportation. Interview forms are used which require both the subject's and the officer's signature and the subject's right index fingerprint. And I have a copy of those if anybody would like to see of all the forms that are used. Subject is interviewed by 287G officers to determine the alienage and removability. Subject is fingerprinted through the IDENT and IAFA systems. Let me tell you something. We have identified a lot of people wanted nationwide by the system we have that ICE has provided to the Alamance County Sheriff's Office. Checks are made through CIS, NCIC, CJ Leeds, and claims. Subject then is served with a notice of legal services. We give the immigrant or alien a list of legal services free. It's free, the legal services are. We also give them a change of address form. Why? Because if they are released, and ICE can release them on their own recognizance, we need to know the address where ICE will send all the information that they're going to need whenever they have to appear in a federal court somewhere. They also have a notice of the online detainee. We give them, if they sign it, we will put that in, I say we don't, ICE does, that detainee's name showing where they're detained so their family can go online and find out when ICE moves them. I want you to understand, once they roll over into ICE custody, we have no idea, we are not told, it's none of our business, where they go and how many times they get transferred before they go into an immigration court or out of the country. Again, notice of their rights. We give them a written notice of their rights, which, like I said, I have formed if anybody wants to see them. An A file is created. If the subject has an existing A file, a copy is requested, which means that A file number will follow that alien anywhere they go in the system. Or if they go back to go, yes, sir.
Sure, Bass, question.
Yes, sir. You're recognized. Mr. Pierce.
Is there bilingual representatives to share with those who might not? You brought up a couple of items about some who do not speak English. Is there a bilingual representative there too?
Absolutely. We pay for a language line, plus a lot of my officers are trained in Spanish. Matter of fact, I'm glad you asked it, because every Tuesday and Thursday night, you're going to come to Alamance County Sheriff's Office, Alamance Community College. It's teaching Spanish to every single one of our employees. We are trying to be able to communicate effectively, not only with a person that has violated the law, but we're trying to better ourselves to be able to deal with the victims of a crime that has been preyed upon in the Hispanic population. We want them to understand we have concerns for them too, and that way our patrol officers are able to effectively communicate. And we started this about a year ago. And we're doing Spanish 1, Spanish 2, one Tuesday, and one Thursday night. And all of our officers are required to go.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay, we got the procedures up here. You've got prepare a notice to appear, or other removal charging documents such as notice of intent to administratively remove, or notice of intent to reinstate removal, or notice of intent to expeditiously remove. Now, I can explain what all these be, but it's the level. For instance, just a notice of intent to administratively remove usually means they have been out of the country, come back in, and boom, they're going to move administrative, and the person says, look, I don't want to go to immigration court, I just want to go home. Boom. The administrative sign on, they're deported back to their home country. And then you have your notice of intent to reinstate removal is also where a person comes in the country, deported, comes back in, and then wants to go before a judge to be removed. And the more serious is your notice of intent to expeditiously remove. These are violent felons that have come into the United States, and they want to get them out of here as quick as they can. Okay, the file is reviewed for completeness and approval by on-site ICE supervisor. Like I say, in Alamance County, we have two. Subject awaits disposition of state charging. Nobody, and in the early stages, a lot of counties were saying, okay, we have a criminally illegal alien here, but he's going to be removed, so rather than tear our court system up, we're just going to drop the charges, y'all remove them. Well, it don't work that way in Alamance County, and I hope it don't work that way anywhere else. You try those individuals, they're convicted, if they've got time, they pull their time, then they're removed. Or if it's a situation, say, a DWI, and I can't tell you who ICE will remove with a DWI charge or anything else, but if a judge, they sit in our jail for 30 days before they go over to court, and that happens a lot of times with our court system business clock, judge may give them time served, and boom, they're automatically in the deportation process as far as ICE. Okay, once the charges are disposed of, they roll over into ICE custody. Now, Alamance County Sheriff's Office is a longer than 72-hour holding facility. A lot of our 287G sites cannot hold them that long or over that. They have to be put into ICE custody because they don't have some of the facilities that they need, the necessary facilities to facilitate that. If at any point during the process the subject is determined to be legal residents, no further action is necessary by ICE. So if they're a legal resident, we're through it, they go, whatever. Okay.